Here in the Keys, there's certainly an appreciation for the arts and its own cultural identity. There are so many talented artists eager to show off its cultural and artistic side to the world. Now, I've been featuring a lot of paintings on the show, so I'm going to switch things up this morning and feature some amazing sculptures that were created by an artist that you can find right here in the Keys. Tim, thank you for being back on the show with me this morning.
Well, thank you, Jenna.
Well, it's wonderful having you on the show, Tim, and you were on a couple months ago, but I know you've been probably staying pretty busy since then.
Absolutely. There have been some amazing things that happened since the last time I saw you.
Wonderful.
I picked up a New York City art dealer and a gallery in California, and I've been selling replicas of the sculpture that we featured on the program last time.
Okay, so you're doing a lot, Tim, right?
Well, thank you, because a lot of things have happened since I saw you last.
Well,
Thank
wonderful. Well, you're an amazing artist, and it's, you know, I'm glad that our viewers get to see some of your work. They can see the images behind us, and tell us about some of these pieces.
This one is a marble carving called Agony and Ecstasy. It's my very first attempt in stone. And as 1994, I traveled to Italy to learn the art of marble carving from the Italian masters. And believe it or not, they took me in and showed me by hand all the things, less about technique, but more about what it really means to be a real artist and live in the world that we work in.
Okay, another piece. Tell me about some of the other ones that they could see earlier. This one right here.
This is one we featured last time. This one's been very successful. I've been selling replicas now, which is fantastic. It was originally designed to be a marble carving, and that's why I tucked her in so tight in her position, because you don't want to leave things extended out that can break. And also possibly a bronze casting, but people have been buying it as is. So the epoxy it's a plastic synthetic medium, and it's different. So I think that's one of the things that people are being attracted to.
Right. Where did you get your inspiration from both of these pieces that we've just seen, Tim?
Well, figure modeling is an art in and of itself, and people ask me all the time, you know, how do you do what you do? And the process of figure modeling, by the time you get to finished sculpture, you've been through a whole long, lengthy thing where you start off with drawing. You have to have a live model. The Italians gave me a hard time. They're like, what do you mean you don't work with live models? And I was like, well, yeah, I do, of course. Doesn't everybody? So you hire a model and you start off with real quick drawings, 30-second drawings, 1-minute long drawings, and you're just trying to get the gesture. You're experimenting with different positions with the back of your mind thinking one of them is going to be your final solution. And then you do longer and longer drawings, and through the process you figure out, quite literally figure out the figure, and then you know what you have to do next, which is modeling in wax or plaster or clay or some type of quick material. And when that's completed, now you're ready to duplicate it or replicate it or enlarge it in stone.
This is so interesting. This is so beyond me, Tim, because I'm working on patience, but it seems like something like this would take so much patience.
If you do your modeling and you're drawing properly ahead of time, you got it.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to have the patience. The stone itself is relatively hard. This hammerhead shark in the image, in particular his teeth, I had to be very, very careful with.
Right.
I strayed from nature a little bit. In the wild, hammerhead shark's teeth are kind of like all over the place, and I gave this guy a Hollywood smile.
I like it.
But yeah, cutting stones, it's loud, it's very physical, and that's one of the things also I'm attracted to. But I find stone to be less hard than metal. This one, the lick, I was invited to participate in what was the world's largest outdoor sculpture show ever.
Okay.
It's in Chicago in 1998, sponsored by Cadillac, and I was tasked with putting this piece together in 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it was
3
intense.
weeks.
Yeah, it was day and night, week after week for 3 weeks, and we got it done just in time for the big opening. It was the top 200 outdoor sculpture artists in the world, and I came in. I was 199th invited.
Hey, you were still invited, right?
But it was great.
And there you are in the background, too, our viewers can see. I like the long hair, Tim.
Yeah, back in the 90s, the black suit, the long hair, the three musketeers facial hair.
Now, Tim, very good look for you. Now, I understand, Tim, that you also do watercolors. So, you know, how does this is a totally different than watercolors. Is it difficult for you to kind of make the switch?
That's a good question. That's a hard one to answer. It's yes and no. Like I mentioned earlier with the figure drawing, the real quick drawings, watercolors are fairly loose, and you're moving, you're trying to capture the essence of something. Through the process of doing longer and longer and studies and models, you get to the point when you're ready to do the final thing, you have it all worked out. So it's a little bit different mindset. I tend to believe that the artistry is in the preliminary stages while you're doing the watercolors and the sketches and the modeling. That's where the most interesting art is for me. By the time you're copying it or enlarging it into its final form, it's more mathematics and formulas.
Okay.
But if you do a good job with the modeling and the drawing, your confidence is very high. You're able to go into the stone where you run the risk of cracking it or breaking it, and you don't have that kind of fear because you know what you're doing.
Wonderful. Now, if people want more, if they want more information about you, Tim, and your sculptures, if they're interested in buying one, can they contact you?
Sure, you can contact me directly. My phone number, 305-923-4630. I'm on Facebook, Tim Marshall Curtis. It's always fun. You know, a lot of people show what they ate today for lunch, but I
don't do that, right? Don't write what you ate.
No, I show my sculptures I'm working on. I do things in the process. So a lot of people tend to be interested in how these things take place, and not just the final results. So I post things like that and other fun tidbits.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing all of this with us this morning, and keep doing this stuff, Tim. You're doing great.
Well, thank you, Jenna. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break right now, but I will be right back after these messages, so please stay with me, everyone.